Yes! Now we're talking.
Is this the greatest song that's ever been written?
This could be. After Africa by Toto.
Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keys here. Welcome to the hashtag Ask Damo show. That's my new thing. Yeah, it's new, and I have just invented that. It's my new thing. Hashtag. This is the show where you get to ask questions about music and music industry and bands and strategies and social media and business, and we will do our best to answer them. And if we can't, then we'll go and find someone else who knows better than us, and we will come back with the answers. But with me, as always, is Melissa.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I am very, very good. A very smiling.
Because we've got presents.
We have. We've got bands are starting to send stuff through, which is very, very, very good. Ooh. Right, let's have a look. What have we got here?
Oh my!
All right. Oh, CDs. Oh, I know this is. This is Matt. This is our old friend Matt Jones. So, oh, look at these. Aren't these beautiful?
They look so cool. I really like that.
There's a lot of music on here as well. Do you know what's really interesting with this? So, thanks, Matt. This is amazing. There's a note as well, which says, "Hey Damo, cheers for all the content you are posting. Enjoy my music. Buy a CD player, you twat." Love Matt Jones.
Love Matt.
I do love Matt. Thanks, Matt. Do you know what's amazing about this is Matt's involved in the community on the social media quite a lot. And one thing he always says is he doesn't have any problem with selling music. Yeah. Now, when you look at this, you can see why.
You can understand. Yeah.
This is what he's done. What he's done here is he's made something beautiful that people will want to own, and he's attached the music to something that is sort of ownable.
Yeah.
That is like is a good bit of merch.
Yeah.
So you can see why, and there's so many people just making the music and then saying it doesn't sell, and it's like, well, this is hard work. This is amazing. So good job. I don't have a CD player, and I do get a lot of CDs, but I am looking into getting one. I'm also looking into getting an old school tape Walkman.
Are you?
Trend.
Nice.
I don't know how I'm going to get one. Now this, I did actually give a slight peek at this because I thought it might be a bomb.
Yeah,
I didn't want to open
it's always
a bomb,
worth checking.
But check this out. This is absolutely awesome. Look at this.
Wow. Oh, what a good merch idea as well.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's so cool.
One thing that I talk about quite a lot is, if you're going to sell things, if you're gonna try and get your merch out there, make something which people will want.
Yeah.
And that way, it's quite easy to sell. But look at that CD, great, well branded. Love this. So this is from LAVENGRO, and two songs, all the information, absolutely fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
That's so cool. I really like that.
Maybe
we'll find some space. Yeah.
I want it to be somewhere prominent.
Yeah, definitely. As long as I don't knock it off.
Absolutely. Do you know what? Thank you so much. This is absolutely brilliant.
Awesome.
We will put that up somewhere. Send us your stuff. The links are down below. The emails are down below. So send us some stuff, and we will feature it, and we will put it on the wall. We'll talk about it. If it's t-shirts, we'll wear them. So good. Do we have some questions?
We might do. Okay, so question number 1.
Okay.
It's from Blake. What's your view on the best way to improve your following when you're from an area with no local music scene? Should you try to break through in the nearest city, even though you may struggle to get your immediate friends and family to travel that far?
Yes.
Good one.
It is a good one, yeah. It's a good one because it's all very well, excuse me, it's all very well living in Brighton or London or New York. There's plenty of places to play. In fact, I've just been working on a music industry tour with Bruce and Mark. All will be revealed. We did a trial one down in Brighton, but we're about to put together an actual tour going around the country. Now what's great is we wanted it to be in the actual tour venues. We didn't want to just go to like community centres. Let's go to proper the tour that bands do. Of course, then you end up looking at all the cities. I ended up doing what I always say, going into the back end of my Facebook. Excuse me. Going into the insights. Going into the insights, going into the people and checking out the biggest cities that people are coming from. And then we started looking, and a big part of my following from the UK, you're looking at Manchester, Leeds, Bristol, Edinburgh, Glasgow, like big cities, which is great. However, as Blake points out, what happens if you're not from those cities? What happens if you've got a band and you live in Telford, which I think is where he's from?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, you don't have those big music venues. Now, this was a problem back in the day. So I'm from Swansea in South Wales. It was what I would class as a very talented when I was growing up, a very talented musical city. There was still are some fantastic musicians there. But there weren't really the outlets to go. So you had to travel, and touring meant, in Wales at the time when I was doing it, it meant travelling to rugby clubs or actual venues that were in kind of an hour's radius. So you're looking at Cardiff, Newport, a bit in Swansea, and then the valleys, all the valleys, going and playing rugby clubs. And that was what we did growing up. We just played those sorts of venues. It becomes quite hard. But now we are in a new time, and we have to not look back at the 2000s and up to 2010 because of consumption and where consumption is. Now what's important is how we actually get in front of people and how we make friends, build relationships, and actually get people interested. So for the first time ever, I can find, and this happens a lot, I can find out about a band which is in Carolina and think, oh, that's really, really good. And I can become a fan, and I can actually still take part in their journey. So it doesn't matter. So I'm a fan of 100 bands that I've never seen live. So does that matter? No, because I can still listen to their stuff. I can still watch videos. I can still be a part of their community. I can still see behind the scenes on what they're doing. So what's really important is the creativity then of how you're going to spread the word.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need... I mean, it is always a bonus. I mean, bands do live and die by the strength of their live show. However, I do think things are changing. Whether we like it or not, people are going to be watching this and they're going to be going, it's not the right way. Bands should get out and they should play, and that should be what it's all about. Yeah, fine, but it's not anymore. It's tough because of this thing here and because of this thing here. And so it was the same thing still when I was growing up, and my mate would hand me a CD and go, you've got to check these guys out. Now it's the same thing. It's not changed in any way whatsoever, but instead of handing a CD, they just send you a Spotify link. Or they just say, go and check out this band, and you just go to Spotify. Or Spotify do that for you. Spotify just go, you like this? Why don't you check out this? So there's so many ways of actually getting your name out there. And so then there's this noise issue of everyone's trying to do it, and all of a sudden it highlights just how many people are in the world trying to do this thing. So your job isn't just to put stuff out there. Your job is to be better at this than everybody else. Your job is to find ways of doing stuff like this so that people are going, oh yeah, Turbulence, I keep hearing about them. This is the issue. Yes, you've got to make great music videos. Yes, you've got to actually make great music. Yes, you've got to do that, but then there has to be more. So some point soon, I think it might be last night, there's a video of mine going out about press and PR. Tonight? Last night. Good, I'm on it. And I talked to Claire Lloyd, who's a press specialist, music industry press specialist, and she talked to a bunch of her friends, and she kind of did these interviews, and I got loads of information. It was absolutely priceless stuff. But what was amazing is the amount of, they want links, they want YouTube, they want Facebook, they want Twitter. They don't just want to hear your music on a CD. They want to just go and see. They want to go and check out the whole thing.
Social products.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter that much. In fact, this is the best time to live in a small village where you've just got one band and a small... it's because it's not about going and talking to people individually and giving them a CD anymore. It's about going and finding your tribe, as Seth Godin would put it. It's about going and finding the people that would like your music. So all of a sudden, it's now completely acceptable to like thrash metal and with a mix of 80s rave. Like you're allowed to do that now. You can put that together because there will be a small selection of people that you can say, you can go and find, and you can talk and you can build a community about it. This is a good time for that. So the key for me isn't going and travelling to the next city. That is good because it's fun. And that is important. And showing off the band as enjoying themselves and having fun and just getting out of the bedroom or the rehearsal room is important. But that is still not going to make a difference until you can get more reach. Because when you're looking at interesting the music industry or actually kicking off algorithms on social media enough to actually pay off, what you need is people talking about you and people hearing about you and people engaging with you, and that's the key. So for me, I'd be putting on gigs anywhere, just somewhere that sounds good, in a rehearsal room, in a community centre. I'd be inviting my mates down, but I'd be videoing it and I'd be getting that out to the people, because now you can be in a band anywhere in the world and have fan bases from all over the world. So I'm getting questions now as what we do builds the reach. I'm getting questions from like Serbia, and I'm getting questions from America, and I'm like, these people, what I do, this is not new.
Yeah.
The social media aspect of what I do is a couple of years old, but me doing this and helping bands, I've been doing for 20 years. It's just now I've got a way to actually take this to the masses. Nobody in Serbia would have ever heard of what I did 15 years ago, whereas now they can. Am I going to have to get out on the road? I might do, because I think it's a nice thing to do. Is it key? No, because this is key. Camera, me talking to camera, you on the other end of the camera going, good, I'm taking in the information. So there's nothing like a live gig, but it's not feasible all the time. But this is feasible, because this is free. This is absolutely free stuff that you can just literally jump on board at any time.
And do you think if you do create a buzz around you with social media and you still were quite desperate to go and start gigging in cities, it's more likely that venues and promoters might come to you anyway?
100%, yeah. Because a question that happens all of the time is, how do I get gigs out of my city?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weekly question. How am I'm building the following in my city, I can't get traction outside of it. But you need a bit of patience and you need to be able to grow. So one thing you can now do is you can put yourself in a city and start to grow in that area, because you can boost videos or posts in that area. Great. But you can also just show off how good you are live and have other cities start to almost have the ripple effect in the pond.
Yeah.
So, it is patience, but it is starting not with a city, it's starting with this city right here. I saw this great picture the other day and said, I love my phone because all my friends are on it. And I was like, that sums it up. That's what it's all about. Everyone's on phones. So for me, you don't need to be in a city. You just need to be creating something that people want to be a part of.
Creating the buzz.
Absolutely. And then finding ways of getting out there. And that little bit there is the key. That is the punchline. And getting people to engage and hear about you is the distribution side to it. And bands, all of these bands are really, really good at 80%. They're all really, really good at learning a trade, making music, putting a CD out, getting on Spotify. But when it actually comes to saying, right, who's going to listen to this? How am I going to get people to buy into this? That's the tough bit. And that's the bit that's hard and boring and takes up time and people don't want to do.
Yeah, as you say, I guess it's all just patience, isn't it? And working away at it.
Patience, but again, there's quite a lot of people online that go, patience. And I'm like, fuck patience. Patience is important.
Yeah.
But only if you're working like an absolute bastard every single day, then patience key. You can't just be patient. That's just waiting. Patience means absolutely nothing unless you are working like a Trojan horse, literally going hell-bent for leather all the way until it happens, making it happen. So then be patient.
And on that note,
okay,
going with question 2 from Jay. My band, All Hail Hyena, are gaining some nice steady interest, and we're sitting on loads of brand new unreleased tracks and videos. We want to know if you'd present this as a package to a decent indie label or go for it ourselves.
Great question. And so if there are indie labels or any labels sniffing around, I would always want to hear what they've got to say. It's 2018. Labels, book publishers, as I'm finding myself, are just distribution. That's pretty much it. They're just distribution now, which in the 90s and 2000s, it wasn't important. It was the only way of doing things. It was imperative. You had to have it. You had to make this. So this had to be made and shipped. And so I was talking to Bruce yesterday about a friend of his who had a book deal, done a publishing deal for a book, and they printed 25,000 copies of the book. and they've sent them out.
Oh
25,000. Yeah. Now, let me put some numbers onto this. I don't know. People are going to watch this and go, ooh. Mm. Let me put numbers on this for a book, right? If you write a book, I don't know about CD, but if you write a book and you go with a publisher, sometimes you'll get a publishing deal of $3,000 to $5,000, £3,000 to £5,000. What's that? A couple of months of you living expensive. 25,000 books, of which each one, the way it's split with a publishing deal is usually less than 20%, 15 to 20%. You're going to get next to nothing for those 25,000 books. Now you do it yourself and you self-publish it with Amazon, for example. They'll do a 70-30 split where you get 70%. Yeah. So if you're getting 70% after they've printed the book, which they do individually, they don't have to print 25,000 and send them off to Waterstones. They just go, no, someone wants a book, print, send. That's just the way it works.
Oh, okay. I don't know that.
Yeah, so if the book costs £1 to make and you're selling it for a tenner, out of the £9, you get 70% of the £9. So the difference is when you go with a publishing company is they've got the in with the big book companies. So when you walk into an airport and there's books in there, when you walk into Waterstones and there's books in there, they've got the links into it. So it's a different thing. So what you're actually getting is you're getting your name out there. So they're doing the hard work. But you better believe they're taking pretty much everything for doing that. Yeah. A lot of the time, not always. Some publishing companies, if they're watching, will go, well, we don't rip people off. Yeah. But a lot of the times, the publishing industry is a dinosaur, which is why I had a meeting with the publishing company and just was like, I just do this myself. Yeah. If a label comes in for a band, I would always be interested. Not because they can break the band, because you need the band to be working just as hard. Depending on the links, depending on the deal, depending on the distribution from a label, what it is it becomes about a team. If you find an indie label in your area that you just think, these guys get us and we get them, and together we can work as a team and we can get this out, then you're thinking about the second album and the third album and the fourth album. That's smart. Yeah. Because if you're, if for this person that's put this book out and 25,000 copies have gone around the world into Waterstones and into all of these bookshops, she's going to make very little money from it. No problem at all, as long as the third book makes a fortune. Yeah. No problem. If not, problem. She could have done it herself. So what you've got here is distribution, and how much distribution you're going to get. If you're not going to get much distribution, then you might as well do it yourself, because distribution is available now. If Sony come knocking on the door, it's very hard to turn it down, just like a book thing, because you're going to get an HMV, because you're going to get everywhere, because you're going to get on some playlists on Spotify, and the whole thing builds momentum, and there's a good chance then TV and radio will pick it up. Or there's a better chance, there's a better chance that'll happen. So, for me, I'm all about making something happen until someone wants to come on board. Nobody's approached me about my channel and said, we want to sponsor it. Yeah. In fact, I'll just keep going until someone, because someone will. Yeah. And at that point, I'll think about it. Nobody's come on board, no big players have come on board and said to me, right, we need to do a collab, or come and do a music industry feature on my channel, or things that will happen in the future. I'm not going looking for that, because it's time consuming and I haven't got the time to go looking for it. What my job is to put out content and help people as much as possible, and in the future those people will recognize that and they will come to me. So for me, it's all about they will come to me as opposed to I will go to them. And that way my job is to make things as best as they possibly can be until I hit that tipping point, and then all of a sudden everybody wants a piece of the pie. So if there are decent indie labels that you have a meeting with, great. Have a meeting, have a cup of tea, go and take them for a drink, have a chat with them, see if there's anything on the table. If there is, weigh up. Don't just go to an indie label because you think that that's the answer, because it isn't the answer. What is the answer is going to the right label for you, which will be a team that you can work together. And the same goes for managers, and the same goes for press and PR and live agents. It's about a team of people that work together that you aren't fighting and you aren't just handing them something, which bands do all the time. They just go, oh, thank God for that label. You do everything. We just want to be artists.
Yeah, you have to really analyse what you're getting into.
It's the fastest way to fail. As soon as you just say, we've made this great thing, here it is, of course they're going to mess it up. Like, it's just handing the keys to what you've created. There's got to be an artist involvement from somewhere. So it's about finding the right people. But for me, it's about going it yourself until everyone's desperate to be a part of it with you.
Okay, awesome. So, question 3 is from Finn. When it comes to branding and content, what are your thoughts on consistency of branding, and also where is the tipping point of too much stuff on your page? Obviously, it depends on your audience, but in your opinion, are there particular mistakes you see bands making, i.e. types of content, and getting it wrong?
Okay, what I liked about this question was the first bit we've dealt with sort of too much.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as too much. There's just shit content.
Yeah.
So, but the second bit I really liked, which is, am I seeing mistakes that bands are making regarding types of content and getting it wrong? Now, the reason why I'm interested in this question is because of the new Facebook algorithm.
Yeah.
So Facebook algorithm has changed. I've done a few pieces on it, which you should go and check out. They're quite good. No, but they'll tell you how it's worked. Now it's a week or two later, and I'm starting to see how that will affect my content and how I can pass that information over to you. Now, when it first happened, I didn't notice any difference. I was still getting all of the same engagement, and it was kind of building up. Now, over time, I'm noticing what's happening is there are less people initially seeing the content. So it's literally, it's like a sieve. It's basically taking it down so that less people see it. So what used to happen was Facebook used to say, we'll see if this content's important, because we'll show this many people, and if a certain percentage of them engage, like, share it, then we will share it, and it will share it, and it'll keep growing until the engagement basically stops, and then Facebook says it's not that important. So effectively, the faster you get on the algorithm and the more content, the more interaction and engagement you get, the better. Now, what Facebook's done is it's showing less content. So whereas you might have got 300 people to see your content initially, just to see if it'll work. Now it might be 30, or it might be 100. So it's harder, it's tougher. And this is what I've noticed, and this is what's important. I've noticed that when I put out content, which is stuff like the EP series, no problem.
Yeah.
It goes far and wide. I get loads of engagement. I get loads of consistent likes and shares, and it works. When I put out something which is lower level, like, for example, not the show, but if I put out this question, it's just another picture of us two together, and people just see it and they go, oh, it's probably another one of Damian's questions, and they just go straight past it. Then I'm not getting the engagement. So it feels like I'm restricted in how fast I can get my stuff out there and how fast I need to get people engaging. So what does this mean for you? What this means, in my opinion, is two things. Number one, you have to put out, in my opinion, slightly less content, but better content. I would.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I wouldn't be just throwing stuff out there because I might change my mind in a week because I'm still working on what I'm seeing from the algorithm. But I think when I'm putting out the best content I can put out, I'm not having any problem with it.
And that's just because more people are engaging with it quickly.
Yes. Because when it is good content, people are just going, love it. And then they're going to their mates, Dave, you've got to check this out. And Dave sees it, and Dave goes, oh, that's really, really good. And there's a conversation flowing about it. So how you're putting content out with the question, the picture, the video, the actual content itself, the description, the entire thing needs to be more thought about rather than just throwing stuff out there willy-nilly. So that, to me, is a big part of this, of how you're putting stuff out there, and therefore, studying your algorithms. So what times you're going to put them out, and which is best for your audience. Getting consistency so people know when it's coming, so that they're making sure that you're asking people, I need you to like and subscribe to this. But there's another bit of this, which is there's an uproar about this. Like, I know so many bands that are just posting and being like, Facebook, you've ruined my life, and you've ruined Facebook, and Facebook's terrible. It's not the case. Facebook is just looking after the end user. And here's why that's absolutely crucially important. And I'm going to say it in one word. The absolute utter reason why Facebook needs to do this in one word is MySpace. That's it. Because MySpace broke it. And I loved MySpace. I loved it. Loved MySpace.
You still do.
I still love MySpace. Bring it back. But the thing with MySpace is it just became this advert for every band. Like my band.
Yeah.
And there were so many people that were like, I'm not in a band. I don't give a crap about your band. I don't care about your band. And it was like band advert. And people are like, no, this is social media. This is a new thing that we've just invented. It's just new. And people are going, yeah, that's cool, but band. And in the end, Facebook came along and everybody just went, oh, thank God, it's like MySpace, but the band's getting on my nerves.
Yeah.
That is exactly why, because MySpace was a quadrillion pound company, and now, how many of you use MySpace? One person just went, I do. And because of that, Facebook is wary. Facebook is saying what's important is the end user, because we lose the end user, we lose everything. And Facebook is smart, and I can promise you, Facebook's not going anywhere for a while. Hopefully. No, Facebook's not going anywhere for a while. They are smart people, and because they always look after the end user, they are constantly studying and analysing all of the insights of the entirety of Facebook. They know when people are watching video less. They know when people are engaging more. They can see the trends. There used to be a trend that people used to just share stuff to their wall all of the time. Share, that's brilliant. Hey, share. Now, different trend. People don't share stuff to their wall as much. What they do is they tag their mates in. It's different. So Facebook are constantly watching these tiny details and going, okay, well, if that's the case, what should we do to look after people more?
Yeah.
So, and because of that, they're doing it for the end user, not for musicians and not for marketers. So what do marketers do? What do bands do? They do the same thing as they have done forever and ever and ever. They go and find a new medium. If Facebook has become the biggest thing in the entire world and it's too expensive to advertise and there's too much noise on Facebook, what happens? You go and find the next thing. And that's been the same thing since TV. Like, people just went, oh, I can't advertise on TV. It's expensive. But at some point, some bright spark, I think it was a burger company, advertised locally on TV. They actually put an advert on TV, I think it was, or a diner or something. And everyone just descended on the diner, and they were like, wow, this is really good.
Yeah.
And then TV advertising got bigger and bigger and blew up. And then all of a sudden, now when you look at TV, it's just the biggest companies in the world. Yeah. So right over in the corner, all of these guitars that we've got, all of the basses and the manufacturers, they can't advertise on TV. It's too expensive. It doesn't make sense. So they've just gone, okay, well, we'll go to radio, or we'll go somewhere else. We'll go to print ads, and then all of a sudden, print ads get expensive, and then people go, oh, there's a new thing. Oh, it's social media. So your job is rather than just cry about it and just try and keep fixing the algorithm, what about not doing Facebook? What about going, okay, well, in which case we have to have something on Facebook, but we're really going to target Instagram because Instagram still has that organic reach. Or what about going on to the next thing? Vine 2 looks to be coming out. Everyone needs to get onto that straight away just in case it becomes a very band-friendly
Do you think that would put your band at any kind of risk, not being on Facebook, as it's such a massive platform?
I think I would still be on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't cry about it, and I wouldn't put out the content in the same way if it's not working.
Yeah.
I would look at other areas, like it used to be bands going on tour, and now it's too expensive, so bands are doing more stuff online. It's just finding new mediums, and there's loads out there, and it's finding the one that works. But I think it's more risky to stick at something which isn't working and not spread your risk. So the things I would do firstly is every single band on here, I do not know many bands, if any, that really take really take YouTube seriously.
Yeah.
They just don't. Every time I look at bands on Facebook, I'm like, smashing it, and I'm going to go and check out your stuff. And I go on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, that's... And it's like, here on Facebook, and you look like a really professional band, and here on YouTube, which makes you look amateurish. So which are you? You're here. Because if you look amateurish here and professional on here, people just take this. It's like when you get good reviews and bad reviews. What do people do? Straight to the bad reviews. I've got 30 good reviews and 3 bad reviews. Check me out them bad reviews.
Yeah.
So, you've got to keep it consistent, and people should be spending more time on making their YouTube look good, but they should be finding other platforms, and it doesn't necessarily just have to be social media, but it has to be a spread risk. If Facebook isn't working for you, start looking around for the social media that you can get the most traction on. And right now, it's going to be Instagram, it's going to be potentially Vine 2, it's going to be YouTube, still working on Facebook for the moment, but there's lots of others. But I keep seeing people crying about it, and if it's not working, you're in Facebook's house. So go out of Facebook's house and go and find someone else's party to crash and build. You don't need 1 million followers. You don't need to be Kim Kardashian. You don't need that. People seem to think that they need millions of followers. You don't. You just need 1,000 people that really, really love you. Matt, if you have 1,000 people that will buy a CD off you every single year, the same fan base every single year for the next 20 years, and you charge £10, that's £10,000 a year for the next 20 years. Yeah. That's 200 grand over the next 20 years. Yes, it's not going to buy you a Ferrari, but for a CD, that is not bad going. Yeah. You don't need 1 million people. So you just got to go and find the place where you can actually round up those proper 1,000 people in amongst 10, 20,000 other people, look after them properly, and if Facebook's not letting you do that, go and find somewhere that will, and keep a presence on there. But your job as a marketer is always to get the most amount of leverage out of whatever platform you're using. Yeah,
so to kind of sum up, so less content on Facebook but better quality content, and just keep trying different platforms
I think so,
one
yeah.
works for
you. I'm still figuring it out, but for me, I'm definitely noticing that Facebook isn't sharing it as much. So, so I might start doing a few boosts to my audience. Yeah. It's going to be more expensive than it's ever been before. Tough. Yeah. Because it's cheaper than TV. Yeah. So that's the way it works. I'm in Facebook's house. I play by Facebook rules. Facebook says it's £5 to get in front of 1,000 people. Fine. All of a sudden, the next day, Facebook says, lots of people are doing this now. Our prices go up. We're putting it up to £10. I can cry about it. I can not do it. I can pay for it. Yeah. Those are the 3 options. There aren't any other options. I either do it or don't do it. And, and bitch and moan or just crack on with it. Yeah. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to play by their rules. But you better believe if something else comes along, I'm going to be all over that. Yeah. Vine 2. Vine 2. Better be good.
Okay, so our last question is from David. I've got my first gig on Thursday night. Any top tips or do's and don'ts for the gig in terms of music or crowd interaction?
Firstly, video high five for first gig. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so good. Any top tips for do's and don'ts for the gig in terms of music and crowd interaction? Yes, a couple. Number one, firstly, enjoy it. If it's your actual first gig, then the most important thing is to take all pressure away from yourself and just enjoy it. That's the be all and end all, because I want you to message me in 10 years time and say I'm on my 1,000th gig and I don't want it to go wrong, and for you to go, ugh, didn't like that. Yeah. I'm not doing that anymore. So first and foremost, it's got to be fun. I remember my first gigs. I remember the feeling of just walking off the stage and just feeling invincible. I even though we probably weren't. Yeah. I remember the first gig I ever did was at a school. Yeah. Like at my school, and I convinced with my other bandmates, I convinced the headmaster to let us do a gig on the school stage. And I went to a very, very small school. Yeah. Like, my whole school was like 100 students. Wow. Yeah. From the valley. It was a very small school. Yeah. But we rehearsed, we put 3 songs together, we did a lunch break thing. I just was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I remember doing my first actual proper gig. All of these milestones are important, and what I remember about them is how I felt, how amazing they were. So I didn't, I would say don't put too much pressure on yourself. That is crucial. If you're watching my channel and you're about to do a first gig and you're going, right, we need to set up cameras and we've got social media and we need someone on the door and we need merchandise, too much. First gig,
just take it easy.
Let's just enjoy this and have some fun, making sure that the 5th gig and the 12th gig and the 100th gig are gonna be amazing. We have got time. So that's the most important thing. Now, when it comes to on stage, the most important thing I would say is plan what you're going to say beforehand. Do not walk on stage and start talking into a mic like I'm talking now, because people talk differently. So if we're talking, I don't talk like this.
Yeah.
I'm talking to communicate down a lens to people so that people watching, we can kind of communicate. If we're talking, I'm less animated.
Yeah.
But if I'm on stage, I'm more animated because I'm a little dot on the stage, and all of a sudden I'm using my hands, I'm using my arms, and I'm talking loud, and I'm projecting through the microphone. So when you do that, when I'm on stage, I front bands, when I do that, the most important thing is I don't have conversations.
Yeah.
Because there's too much stuff going on. What I do is I give statements at all time. So the first thing I need to do when you give a statement is you are giving energy. That's the key. So you walk on stage, you play your first song, and then you say one thing, very short thing, but the way you say it, whether you say, how's everybody doing? Everyone goes, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do here.
Yeah.
I go, hey! And you go, brilliant. If you don't need to talk, you don't need to talk. You just go into the next song and the next song and the next song. A song will do this, and they get to the end, and as soon as you go, bish, as soon as you do that, the vibe will start going down. Instantly.
Sound.
Yeah. Fa, 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 fa. Bish. The energy does this. Your job is to go and back up again.
Yeah.
If it goes down too far, people get bored and they go, should we go to the bar? Or should we go outside for a fag? Or should we go and do something else? Or should we just leave? Your job is to not let that happen. And the way you do that is song after song after song. It's up-tempo, it's fast, it's punchy, unless you're like, unless you're a crooner. But on the whole, for most bands, it's still energy. Even if you're not a metal band, even if you're like an acoustic act, it's still about again. And then you only need to say things if you're getting a message across. So the messages you need to get across are very, very simple. Introducing the band or you and who you are. That is it. Yeah. Everything after that is a bonus. The amount of times I go and see bands and I'm walking around going, who's this?
Yeah.
Who is this? And they're going, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, do you know who this is? And I'm like, oh, I can't be asked anymore. And I just leave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have added you. I would have added you on Facebook. I would have communicated. I would have engaged. I might have even been able to get you on a show, or I might have been able to promote you. And I don't know, because I don't know who your band are. And I'm not waiting around. I'm not going to be that guy that taps you on the shoulder and goes, I help bands, don't you know? Can you tell me who you are? I mean, I look like a dickhead. So I'm not going to do that.
No, it's always worth just repeating it.
Absolutely, again and again and again, 3, 4, 5 times. And just even say, I'm ramming this home. Get your phones out. Get your phones out and add us on Facebook, or get your phones out and add us on Instagram. That's what I would be doing on a gig. And it wouldn't just be at the end, because people come and go. It would be 3 or 4 times. Other than that, your job is to just provide energy. When you say, how's everybody doing? Everyone just goes, yeah. You're keeping people in the moment. When you say, has everyone had a good time? Everyone says, yeah. When you say, scream for me, everyone goes, yeah. No, those are the bits where you're just making a statement and it's part of the show. As soon as you say, so a funny thing happened when I came today. I was on the way and there's lots of traffic. People are like, no, wrong.
Yeah.
This is not a comedy show. This is a gig. I just need energy. If you have a story to tell, you better believe that story better be something that you've told a lot of times and that you can project through a microphone, down through the lead, through massive speakers, where the sound guy might have too much bass on it, because the last thing you want to be doing, and it happens all the time when I see bands, where what I'm actually listening to is and I'm like, I'm sure this is a funny story, but I can't hear it. When you say, make some noise, like, you can't mess that up. Everyone just goes, ah! That's just what people do, isn't it? So that's those are my 2 bits of advice. Number 1, just enjoy it. And when it comes to what you do and what you say, play, get as many songs in as possible. Make sure that first song is your killer song. People leave it till the end, and I'm like, just play it first.
Yeah.
Because people go, but you just wait. It happens all the time. See, covers bands do it. Just wait, though. Just wait. People don't. They just don't wait. They just bugger off.
Yeah.
So rather than saying, wait for it, and now you've stayed till the end, you get a reward. Well, you're the one who've messed up, because lots of people have gone, oh, should we go? It's not interesting. You walk on that stage and you literally, you metaphorically punch them in the face. You walk on stage and you play something.
Yeah, don't literally do that.
Yeah, don't punch people in the face. But you walk on stage, you look at Robbie Williams and he walks on, he does Let Me Entertain You. At the end of that song, it doesn't matter whether you like Robbie Williams, that makes no difference whatsoever. For his audience, as soon as you get to the end of that song, as soon as he finishes that song, he's like this, and his audience are here. At that point, he can do anything he wants. He just goes, whatever. Whatever. Because he's played that song and everyone's like, oh! oh, that was amazing. After that, he'll go into strong or something else. He doesn't need to go into angels. He just goes, let me entertain you. I can do what I want now because I've just killed this. If he just went, I'll put a couple of bits in, but I'll put that at the end. The vibe's like, you want it to go, wee! Yeah. So for me, it's, and you know, if you're playing an hour to an hour and a half set and everyone's there just to see you, like, you know, because you're Coldplay, fine. But most of the people watching, you aren't Coldplay, so don't think that you're Coldplay. You are there to get people who've never heard of you before into your band. So get on that stage and rip up that first song. In fact, the first three, but the first song's key. Make sure you keep saying your name and make sure you just have loads of fun.
Yeah. Oh, good luck.
Wow, great way to end the show.
Yeah.
If you've got stuff to send, then send it through. Thank you so much to LAVENGRO and Matt from Twisted Illusion. Yeah, go and check them out. We'll put some links below. So if you've got some stuff to send it through. If you've got any questions, now the way we're doing this is very, very simple. It is on Facebook at the moment, but you can ask with a hashtag AskDamo. But on a Tuesday day, there will be a question, a poster that goes out which just says ask your questions, comment below, and we'll go through everyone. And if we ask your question, you want to have a Skype, then you are more than welcome. All you've got to do is email katie@dkmanagement.co.uk and tell her, give me a Skype, and she'll sort that out for you. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.